Good evening. Tonight is Tuesday, March 17th, and I'd like to call the Fitchburg City Council to order. I'd say that we're announcing our FA TV audio recording for the public, but unfortunately we're doing this this evening away from a public space. We're recording this evening in FA TV studios, unfortunately, again, without a public audience. That said, I would ask Councilor Schultz to please lead us in the salute to the flag. Allegiance to the flag, the United States
of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, could you please conduct the roll call?
President Kushmarek.
Present.
Councilor Boschman. Councilor Couture.
Present.
Councilor Di Natale. Councilor Fleming.
Here.
Councilor Green. Councilor Schultz.
Here.
Councilor Squalia.
Present.
Councilor Van Hazinga.
Present.
Councilor Walsh.
Here.
Councilor Zarella.
Here.
Councilors, yet another change early on in this agenda. Typically, this is the time where we would be entertaining public forum in accordance with approved changes authorized by the Secretary of State and the Governor. We moved this meeting to FATV studios, and with it, unfortunately, we had to restrict access to the public being physically present this evening. As such, on Friday afternoon, we made an announcement to the public and press inviting public comment via the city clerk's office. So we allowed folks to either call or email up until noon today. And as of 6 p.m. this evening, we had not received any public comment. So as such, we'll move next on to the agenda. Before I do that, I'll state that, assuming that we'll have another council meeting in a different format, be it whether it's in FATV studios or in another virtual or digital way, my pledge to this body and to the public is to explore new and innovative technologies that will allow us increased access from the public to participate in public comments. So I've already had discussions earlier today with FATV, and those discussions will be ongoing beyond today with the clerk's office as well as FATV about how best we can ensure real-time and public comment and participation at the start of each of our meetings as we're accustomed to. That said, next, if we have no objection, we'll now hear an oral report from the Appointments Committee, which met earlier this evening and took up the following three matters. The first was a new appointment for the Zoning Board of Appeals, term to expire March 1st, 2025, of Mr. Brian Gallagher. That was held in committee by a vote of 4-0. The next two are also new appointments. First for Associate Member of the Planning Board, term to expire March 1st, 2023, of Ms. Tracy McGrath. And the next for Associate Member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, term to expire March 1st, 2022, of Mr. Gregory Babineau. Both were accepted unanimously. I have a motion and second to approve the report. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Next, we'll hear a report from the Committee on Records. Councilor Squalia.
We've reviewed the records, and they appear to be in order.
If there are no objections, we'll accept the report from the Committee on Records. Next, we have communications from His Honor the Mayor. We have several letters of appointments. We have first, Mr. Daniel Satterfield is a member of the Board of License Commissioners, term to expire May 1st, 2026. Next, we have Mr. Brian Breaux as a member of the Conservation Commission, term to expire March 1st, 2023. We also have additional letters. Mr. Timothy W. Harnden as a full-time student police officer for the city of Fitchburg. Councilors, at the request of Chief Martineau, we will actually not send this to the Appointments Committee. However, the next two, I would ask that we continue on to appointments. And those are for Mr. Ryan M. Creedler as a full-time student police officer for the city of Fitchburg, and Ms. Leona Wetzel as a member of the Fitchburg Cultural Council, term to expire April 1st, 2023. We also have a further communication from the Pension Reserves Investment Management Board, and unless there are objections, we'll waive the reading and place it on file in the city clerk's office. Seeing no further objection, we have next Finance Committee. We had a meeting on March 10th, 2020. and took up the following matters. 05920, ordered that the City of Fitchburg hereby approves the expenditure of funds from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Office of Public Safety and Security Department of Fire Services grants in the approximate amount of $6,448.94 for the purpose of said grant, which is to purchase washer extractor equipment. The recommendation was that that be adopted. Next, we had 06020, ordered that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $600,000, same to be charged against available funds and credited to DPW capital expenditures, Arbor Way repair, for the purpose of repairing and retaining, repairing the retaining walls that support Arbor Way. That too was adopted. And 06120, ordered that there be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $11,000, same to be charged against available funds and credited to the following: Council on Aging expenses, heating and fuel $4,000, building and grounds $7,000. That too was adopted. And lastly, there was a communication regarding the year 46 community block grant application that was recommended that it be adopted by a vote of 3-1 with Councilor Boschman in opposition. I have a motion and second to accept the report from the Finance Committee. Speaking on the motion, Councilor Squalia.
Yes. Speaking on 06020, the $600,000 to repair the Arbor Way wall, I'm going to vote in favor of this, but the reason this wall is failing is due to a lack of maintenance work and a lack of available funds to the DPW to be able to do this kind of maintenance, to be able to reduce water erosion behind this wall. We need to make a better commitment and a bigger commitment to our DPW to allow them to fix things before they have catastrophic failure. Thank you.
Councilor Zarella.
With respect, that is not what the DPW commissioner said at the Finance Committee meeting. We were told that the problem was a design flaw primarily, and that it was not designed and constructed initially by the city DPW. That any catch basin issue, which was raised by my colleague who isn't present, Councilor Boschman, was a factor but not the primary factor, and that in all likelihood we would be doing a large portion of this repair regardless. That being said, I would like to reiterate one thing that came up at the meeting, which is that while this needs to be acted upon swiftly so that we don't have two landlocked businesses in our city, I would like to have the city continue discussing with the Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority the possibility of reimbursement for this, given that it was initially their design and their build. But I don't want the businesses to be punished for that. And I don't want it to be misconstrued as general opposition to the FRA, which does an excellent job in the city and for the city.
Speaking for the second time, Councilor Squalia.
Yes. Just to share more information, I attended the Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority meeting where they were requested to pay for this wall because they were part of the development of the industrial park, and they unanimously voted against reimbursing the city in any way for paying for this wall at that time. So yes, if we want to continue having discussions, that's great, but that's where we are right now.
I have a motion and seconds. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Legislative Affairs Committee was originally scheduled to meet earlier this evening. It did not. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. In light of, in consideration of the COVID-19 and the fact that the items on the agenda for the Legislative Affairs Committee would take a significant amount of time, we felt it best to err on the side of caution and postpone the meeting, and that meeting will take place on April 28th.
Wonderful. Next, we have the public hearing 06420, Unitil Fitchburg Gas and Electric Company to construct and use a line for two new proposed pole locations on Valley Street, approximately 1,200 feet west of Canton Street, as outlined in the enclosed petition. Councilors, this public hearing is canceled to be rescheduled for April 21st, 2020, which we'll do unless there is objection from this body. Seeing none. Next, we have orders finance. Councilors, I would ask for suspension of the rules on 065 up to and including 06820. I have a motion and second for suspension on the orders finance. Speaking on the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Matters are before the body. Councilors, I have communications regarding each. Unless there are objections, I'm happy to read the corresponding letters from department heads regarding these expenses. Yes. All right. 06520. This is the City of Fitchburg hereby approves the expenditure of funds from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation Safe Routes to Schools Signs and Lines program in the approximate amount of $6,000 for the purpose of said grant, which is to repair crosswalks and signage in and around Rheingold Elementary School. And we have a letter here from our Department of Public Works. Department of Public Works respectfully requests that the mayor and the city council accept a grant in the amount of $6,000 from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation Safe Route to Schools Signs and Lines program that would allow for the expenditure of funds from the grant towards repairs to those crosswalks and signage in and around Rheingold Elementary School. This program is a reimbursement-based funding program that provides design services and up to $6,000 in construction funding to selected municipalities for low-cost infrastructure projects around a public elementary or middle school, with a goal to eliminate small barriers that students encounter when walking, bicycling, or using wheeled mobility device to get to school. Eligible low-cost projects include signage and pavement markings to improve safety and accessibility along key walking and biking routes to a school. Projects must be within 1/2 mile of the school that serve children in any grade from kindergarten to 8th grade. The funds from the school will be used to mitigate pedestrian dangers in the area of Rheingold Elementary School, including installing a crosswalk with lines and signs at the intersection of Oak Hill Road and Franklin Road, install a crosswalk, stop sign, and a stop bar at 2 side streets, install do not enter and one-way signs at the Franklin Road exit, install advanced pedestrian signs at Rheingold Avenue, install stop sign and stop bar for California Avenue, paint double yellow lines on Rheingold Avenue approaches to the school entrance. All work reimbursable under this grant must be completed by June 30th, 2020. Their certificate of award and memorandum of understanding from MassDOT must accompany this request. Sincerely, Nicholas H. Bossinetto, Commissioner of Public Works and City Engineer. Next, we have a letter from Mary Delaney, Chief Procurement Officer, dated March 10th, 2020. I respectfully request that a transfer of $2,000 be made within the purchasing department budget without the need for appropriation. Decrease budget account purchasing personal services buyer, transfer to purchasing overtime. The purchasing department was understaffed for approximately 8 weeks when a former buyer accepted an internal position in another department, resulting in a surplus in the buyer salary account. The employee now in the position of buyer will perform overtime work to accomplish the following critical tasks: to compensate for work deferred while the position was vacant, document and contract management, marketing research, scanning and minor procurements, to complete the transition of current contract database from an Excel spreadsheet to a Contract Logics database by the end of FY20, and to implement an interactive contract filing, tracking, and notification system through Contract Logics that will be available beginning on FY21. The next letter corresponds to 06720, dated March 10th, from Trevor Bonilla, Manager of Information Technology, to Mayor DiNatale. The Information Technology Department hereby respectfully requests approval from the Mayor and City Council for the appropriation of $20,000 from available funds towards the purchase of 9 Aruba 2930M 48G PoE managed switches, manufacturer refurbished. These switches will replace the Cisco 3750E PoE switches that are currently being used to manage our network backbone. Cisco announced end of life on this equipment several years ago and end of support this past year. At a total cost of $36,850, please see it attached. These funds will bridge the gap from the gap from the money I will be using from my FY20 capital improvement line, and he's showing the available funds that were previously allocated through the budget and how this additional appropriation would get us to the entire invoice cost. Last, we have 06820 and the corresponding communication from Vincent P. Pusateri II, City Solicitor, to Mayor Stephen L. DiNatale, dated March 10th. It appearing to be in the best interest of the city of Fitchburg, kindly instruct the auditor to draft an order for $50,000 and no cents from free cash to law department's account. Law department, other expenses, damages to persons and property prior to the next city council meeting for the purpose of appropriating funds for the payment of the Maya deductible account and as a contingency. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to let us know. Very truly yours, Vincent P. Pusateri II, City Solicitor.
Approve Finance Order 06520 through 06820.
I have a motion and second to approve all of the finance orders. Speaking on the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Councilors, order CDBG 06920 up through and including 08420 correspond to the communication and the report that we have approved already this evening that was embedded within the Finance Committee report. It's been customary for as long as I've been on the council that we suspend the rules and approve these simultaneously with the report that will then be submitted. I have a motion and second for suspension of the rules on order CDBG. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The matter is before the body. I would.
The full slate of the CDBG orders.
I have a motion and second to accept 06920 up to and including 08420, the full recommendations of orders CDBG. Speaking on the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Orders other, we have three separate orders. 08520 ordered that authorizing the mayor to execute the easement deed between City and Westminster Pond LLC as outlined in the enclosed order. 08620 ordered that authorizing the mayor to execute the easement deed between the City of Fitchburg between the city and 431 Westminster Street LLC as outlined in the enclosed order, and 08720 ordered that authorizing the mayor to execute all documents and any acts to amend any or all existing host community agreements with marijuana entities as outlined in the enclosed order. I have a motion and second to approve 085 up to and including 08720. Speaking on the motion, Councillor Squalia.
Just for clarification, the 08520 and 08620 are referencing a petition that came to us before that we discussed in city property, correct?
That's correct. These are corresponding prior authorizations and petitions that we've approved.
Yes, thank you.
I have a motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Ordinance 05720, amending portions of the city code and establishing Department of Facilities Management and a Director of Facilities as outlined in the enclosed ordinance. Final reading. I have a motion and second to send 05720 to its third and final reading, enrolled, ordained, and advertised. Speaking on the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? One in opposition. Councilor Squalia. The motion carries. 06320, an ordinance that the general ordinances of Fitchburg, Chapter 44, Section 10, is most recently amended, be further amended by adding thereto following under positions paid yearly, Chair, Planning Board, that would be effective July 1st, 2019, $1,668 annually. And councilors, I would ask that we amend this ordinance to amend by striking the words from Chapter 3, 139, the words, "and who shall serve without pay," ensuring that we are not contradicting our own ordinances. I have a motion and second to amend to strike the words from Chapter 3, Section 139, "and who shall serve without pay." Speaking on the motion, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The amended ordinance is before this body.
Motion to approve the amended ordinance, send it to its final reading, enrolled, ordained, and advertised.
I have a motion and second to send 06320 to its third reading, enrolled, ordained, and advertised as amended. Speaking on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Councilors, petition 08820 up to and including 09020 stand referred to their respective committees. I'll be working with chairs at the appropriate time to schedule and begin rescheduling such standing committee meetings. Councilors, this evening we won't have a regular announcements section. I would like to take this opportunity to ask folks and ensure that folks, I know many are tuning in to state and national coverage. I would like to encourage and urge folks to ensure that also on a local basis that they are staying abreast of the latest developments and updates as issued by the mayor of the city of Fitchburg and the Fitchburg Public Schools and Fitchburg Board of Health. Those updates began last week. There was another such update yesterday provided from those three various departments, as well as an update from the mayor. And I am sure that in the days and weeks to come, there will be continued updates from those entities, and I would encourage you to look through the official channels, both the city's website, Facebook pages, and through FATV's infrastructure as well. Certainly, you'll see more of those video updates as well as transcripts of the updates that have been provided. This is uncharted territory for all of us, and I certainly appreciate you, councilors, bearing with me and bearing with us as we've had to adjust the circumstances of our meetings. I want to thank the public, who I know has certainly been affected by these changes as well, for bearing with us. Life is changing for all of us at this point, and if you look around this room, you see those changes right here, not only in terms of the physical presence of where we are, but in terms of the number of people that are in this room. It is no coincidence that there are only 10 people on camera tonight, and that's because we're trying to ensure social distancing as recommended by both the federal and the state agencies, as well as our own local authorities. There's also 3 councilors that are not with us this evening, and I'll call each out. In particular, Councilor Di Natale made the decision out of concern for family considerations to not be here. Councilor Boschman identified that he was in a vulnerable category, and it would be best for his own public health and his own safety that he remain at home. And Councilor Green, being very conscious of the fact that she was feeling under the weather, decided to stay home as well out of an abundance of caution to public health and those around her. All 3 made a difficult choice to stop doing something they love very dearly and to respect their own health, their families, and the greater public. And I commend them for making that decision. I know that was not an easy one. We're making adjustments to our lives and societies in ways that we never thought possible just a few weeks ago. Federal, state, and local leaders are making decisions. They're making them not just by the day or the week, but they're making them in many cases on an hour and minute-by-minute basis. And those decisions are changing how we lead our lives and how we interact with each other, including our own family. These decisions are being made, and they're being made the best attempt to both protect and preserve public health, but I think in a genuine desire to save lives and to care for those that they serve. Those many decisions are going to be made, and not every decision is going to be a perfect one over these next couple of months. And, I hope that this is an opportunity, and I would ask that this be an opportunity for us to cast aside that cynicism and skepticism that we all have. It's part of what makes us truly great Americans, is that we're skeptical and cynical about all public leaders. And, it's a great process that we go through. But in times of crisis, I think it's also a time for us to assume the best in each other and the best in our public leaders and local officials who are making decisions that they truly believe to be the best ones for us. And, I think when we get through this, and as we go through this, this is an opportunity for Fitchburg to really show its true colors, for us to come together as a community. So I think this is what we're going to do over the next few months, is that we're going to show and treat each other with kindness, compassion, and empathy as we go through this, and everyone's reacting in a different way. I think that we should be looking out for those most vulnerable among us by calling and checking in to say, even if it's a neighbor next door, are you all right? How are you doing? That's kindness, that's compassion that we can show for our fellow residents. And just saying, is there anything that you need? And whether it's just providing that voice so that they're not alone over these next few weeks, or whether that's ensuring that they have the medical care or the meals being delivered that they need, and helping to connect them to city or state resources that might be of help to them in their time of need. Those will be important things. It's just being aware of those who are vulnerable and susceptible among us, and checking in. And it's washing your hands. It's keeping social distance. It's avoiding large gatherings. And again, I think it's respect for each other, and it's empathy and it's compassion that'll get us through this together. And at some point, we will be able to return to life as normal. And it's going to be these measures that get us through that time. So I want to thank, again, everyone here in this room who did a lot in order to be here. And I want to thank the city of Fitchburg and our residents for bearing with us through this time. That said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I have a motion and second to adjourn. Councilor, we have no announcements this evening. All those in favor of adjournment? Aye. All those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, councilors.